Hi, welcome to the Apple Crafts channel. Today's video is going to be more of a vlog than it's going to be anything else. I do have a couple of finishes that I'm going to go over, and most of this video is just going to be me talking about acorn bread. And in the last episode I actually talked about that, and I realized that I hadn't brought it up before, so some of you are probably watching that video going, what are you talking about, acorn bread? What? Huh? So I'm going from the beginning of when I foraged the acorns on my mom's property to the finished product and everything in between. So for finishes, I have 2 pairs of socks. I've got the feet teeth socks. I do not have my sock thingy, so I'm going to put this on my arm. This is a pattern by Summerlee, and I had forgotten to do the white. I made this sock while I was on the road, and I got like to about here, and then I'm like, something's not right. Oh, I forgot the white. Well, so I just went on without the white. And then I've got the eyes. And then what I did that was a little bit of a modification was, obviously the eyes look slanted, but I also tried to make some of the blood drips a little bit longer in some areas, so like it's short here and longer here, just to kind of make it look a little bit more realistic. And then I did a heel flap and gusset. This is my second time doing a heel flap and gusset, and it was way easier the second time around than the first time. And what I've learned with the heel flap and gusset is like this diamond here, when you're doing cuff down, it's actually this way. And when you're doing toe up, it's this way. And I remember that was a huge frustration for me because I couldn't figure out why it didn't look the way it did. But now I figured that out. I also did on this heel the reinforcement for both the bottom and the back of the heel. Just to see what it looked like and how it felt and all that. I still think for me, my go-to heels are going to be Afterthought and Short Row, and for the people that I normally knit for, that's the same thing. But I will be offering socks in the shop soon. I have not started the first pair that's going to go in there yet, but that will be something that I will be doing because I have a lot of people asking me about socks. You know, every time I go out, I'm always bringing socks, and I run into people who want knitted socks, so I figure I'll start doing that. So, yep, that's my pair. And this colorway is my Speckled Pride colorway, which right now they're in yarn sets, but they're not sold by themselves. But in the next couple of months, I will be making more of this colorway. It's just not on the horizon at the moment. The stitch count on these are, the bottom part here is 64, and then I went to 62 up here because I find that 64 stitches is a little bit baggy on my foot, but for like any kind of color work I need to up the stitches, so that's what I did with this. And I knit them on a US 2, and I don't know what the red is. It's just something in my stash, I don't remember. The other pair of socks that I finished are my kitty socks. Now when I talked about these last time, I was going to do Knit Picks Stroll, I think it was. Got to the end of this part, of the kitty face part, and I was remembering the differences between this yarn and that brown yarn when I did those ones with the trees for my son. And I didn't like the difference between the two yarns. I felt like the brown was a little too soft and not as thick to meet up with this brown here. So I went through my stash and I found this green, which is a Rowan, no, not Rowan, it's Kramer yarns. And yeah, the color is about right. And it's a worsted, and this is a DK down here, but this teal is a worsted, and it was a little tight to knit with, but it matches up perfectly as far as like feel and all that stuff. So I'm glad I switched it to the teal. And then with the faces, I just used the black yarn, and then I used my Forest Floor, I think, for the nose. And so there's a little bit of variance there between the two noses. because, you know, it's a multicolored yarn. There's a little bit of pain to do the double stitching and all that stuff. It's not really something that I like. I did figure out, and I should have read the pattern beforehand. This pattern, let me get the information for you. It's a free pattern, and I don't even know if I did a project page for it. I did not. Of course I didn't. Hold that thought so I can get you the right information. So these socks are called, officially, the Kitty Ankle Socks, and the designer is Inorga Knit, and it's a free pattern. So there's a chart for this part here, even though you're just, double stitching or going over embroidery, whatever. I guess it's just more for placement, but the ears you could do intarsia, or you can do that embroidery double stitch thing as well. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that, because trying to do intarsia, like, I know how to do intarsia, but it's not my favorite, so if I can avoid it, then I will. So what I did was, whatever, I just kind of cut off, I had like a long amount of yarn, cut it off, and then whatever I had left, I knit for the front and to the back. So the back here is not completely finished, right? And I'm not going to finish it because I don't think it's worth it. But that just kind of shows you I just kind of used whatever I had left for the back. This one I tried double stitching. That ear came messed up, but I had a cat with a messed up ear, so that's a realistic thing, especially in my life. So there you go. There's that. So those are my two finishes. Now, shop news, I want to say, but right before I get into the acorn stuff, I've got a coupon code for the rest of the season in my Etsy shop, Sparkle Season 15, so you can save 15% off of anything in the shop, no minimum, and my shipping is always discounted. And then if you go into the announcements, if you know you're going to spend $75 or more, you get free shipping, because with every additional thing I add like $1 for shipping, so it just saves you a little bit of money that way too. Just wanted to put that out there. And yeah, so enjoy the acorn foraging and learning about acorn bread. And I did take some pictures from my Betty Crocker. I hope that's okay to do, because I actually don't really work from a recipe. Like, I've got my own recipes from when I had my baking, when I ran a shop out of my house, and everything else I kind of just do off the top of my head. So I was trying to find a recipe that would be close to what I do so that I could share those with you. With the muffins that I did, I used a bran muffin recipe, because bran muffins are dense anyway, and acorn flour is dense. So you're just swapping the acorn flour with the bran in that recipe. Everything else was in there, and I did veganize it, so everything that was egg, I did egg replacer. And for me, my flour was gluten-free, but you can use regular flour. And it came out really well. I did figure out that the waffles, I made waffles, need more sugar than what's in the recipe. And it's not because the acorn flour is bitter. It's actually pretty sweet. It's on the sweet side. It just feels like it needs that extra help. So if you do decide to go through the whole process of making acorn flour for yourself, which it is a process, just keep in mind you might want to add a little bit of extra sugar with whatever quick breads you're going to make with it. Alright, so I hope you enjoy this little vlog, and I will see you next week, or maybe the week after, sometime soon, within the next 2 weeks, with a regular podcast. I'll see you later. Go make something. I'm going to collect acorns and make acorn bread, hopefully. You're on my podcast. Congratulations. I said you're on my podcast. Let's see if this works. Oh my god. Really? So I had to get cardboard, put it on the floor, use a mallet to open these. That's a lot. So I guess I'm moving to the floor. I'm doing this. I'm doing it. Can I put that? I don't know. No! Damn it! It looks very similar to chestnut before you roast them and stuff. I probably should have got, well, you know my trash can's right here. Okay. Five minutes of work. Now, I'm surrounded by cats because I'm on the floor, obviously. So, of course, the cats have to be around. Say hi, Nike. I mean, you okay? Look. You want to say hi? People want to see you. Say hi. Come here. Say hi. That's UK, and this is Flower. Say hi, Flower. So, it took me a couple tries, but if you hit them this way, instead of this way, obviously it's going to minimize the rolling over, and it actually opens up easier too if you hit them from the bottom of the thing upside down. Look at her. Look at her. She's just, she won't stop. She's got to play with the acorns. Honey, it's not a toy. Go. She's 5 months old. May, June, July, August, September. 6 months old. She's 6 months old. Everything is a toy. So, let me get you on the stand so I can try to work while I'm doing this. Alright, you gotta move so you don't get hurt, baby. Oh, yeah. So, criteria for picking out acorns. I got these at my mom's place. It has a lot of mature oak trees. So these are, I believe, white oak. And I'm guessing that because they're very round at the bottom. Acorns mimic the leaves of their oak trees. So we have a lot of red oak and white oak in this country specifically. So at least in the south and in the northeast. So the leaves on the oak trees, when they're rounded, that tells you that it's a white oak. And if they're pointy, that tells you it's a red oak. So the long, slender acorns that you see, those generally belong to the red oak. And the fat, round ones like this on the bottom, usually the white oak. So now you know. So what I did was, because I picked up acorns before, just, you know, one or two here and there, just because, you know, a lot of people do that. Once in a great while, you'll find a maggot somewhere that came out. And so I've known from that experience when I was doing this to make it a point to really look at each and every acorn to make sure there weren't any cracks, there weren't any holes, there weren't any splits. Because I didn't want to deal with maggots while I'm trying to do something for actual food, you know. So far, I gotta say, each one of these has been perfect. No rotting, no maggots. Am I expecting to see one or two maggots somewhere in here? Maybe, I don't know. Human error can play a part. Am I expecting to see some rotting? Maybe. Like I said, the inside of this, if you've ever roasted chestnuts before, they look very similar to chestnut. That's the inside. The only difference is there's a lot of tannin in this, so could you eat it raw? Yeah. Do you want to eat it raw? No, it's going to hurt your stomach. So unless you've got a really strong stomach, I would not recommend eating these raw. So what you're going to do is you're going to... Ooh, that came out perfect. Baby, get out! Oh my goodness. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these, shell them, like I'm doing here, and then soak them in water for a day, and then put them through your processor, because it's kind of going to do a number on your processor. I act like I've done this before. I've never done this before. I've just done a lot of research. This is not the first time I thought about doing acorn bread. So you're going to put it through the processor, but you want to soak it in water for a day first, just to one, get some of those tannins out, and two, it's nicer on your machine so it doesn't burn it out. You know. So I've got a lot of acorns to do, and it is 2:30. My back's gonna hurt before I'm done with this. I probably should have started this. Did you see that? Probably should have started this earlier in the day. Oh well. It's whatever. Now that I figured out a faster way to do this, it shouldn't take me that long. I do have a crap ton of acorns though. For acorn bread, you need about 2.5 cups. Whatever recipe I end up doing, I will link below, but you need about 2.5 cups of flour. And the process is you rinse these, put them into the processor so you can pulse it, right? Then you're changing out the water for 3 or 4 days, because you really want to get those tannins out. Oh my gosh. And then you're going to put it on a baking sheet, make a thin layer, and then you're going to dry them out. So I'm going to assume at that point you're probably putting your oven on like it's the lowest setting you can get it on. And I don't know how long to bake that for to dehydrate them. That's something I'm going to have to look at when I look at whatever recipe I'm using. But I'm going to assume it'll probably take an hour, maybe 2 hours. And then you're going to take that, grind it again, and then you have your flour. So every recipe that I've seen so far takes about 2 to 2.5 cups of acorns. And you always, when you're foraging for these, like I said, where my mom was, there's just tons of trees. There's acorns everywhere. I wasn't stealing from the squirrels. Oh, this is my first rotten one. No, okay. I wasn't stealing from the squirrels because they had so many acorns. Half of them were split open and ready for them. In fact, I had these laid out on her patio floor. They didn't touch a single one. There's chipmunks over there. Come on, move. There's chipmunks over there. There's a crap ton of squirrels over there. There's even a couple foxes over there. You know, by messing with it. So they had plenty. I'm not going to take from an animal because, you know, we feed all of God's creatures in my house to begin with. Baby, what are you doing? Oh my God. I'll be back in a few minutes.
I agree.
What? This is the process. So I think I have more than 3 cups of acorns here. Although I don't know because this is really big right now. And they are going to get ground down. So I might have 4 cups, but I won't know until I'm done. So found a couple of acorns that were moldy on the inside. You know, kind of expected that. Found a few acorns that had maggots in them, which not sure how they got maggots, but you know, I should have expected that as well. So you always want to, if you're going to do this, you want to make sure that you get the nice big fat ones, if you can, so you get more meat. And grab a few more than you think you're going to need in case of molding or maggots. And yeah, I guess after this we'll find out exactly how much we're going to have, because it's going to be I gotta do all the things now, so I probably won't even get to the point of dehydrating these until Monday. Today is Thursday, Halloween, so I probably won't get to that till like Monday, maybe even Tuesday. And then I guess that same day I can also let it cool and then grind it into flour. So yeah, but I'm gonna, whoops, the cats are having a field day with these shells, let me tell you what. But yeah, I think I've got like four cups. Might even have, yeah, I'm gonna be conservative and say 4. Which would be cool, because if I can find a recipe that uses 2 cups, although I don't think I've seen any. Most of the recipes I've seen were 2.5 to 3. I'll have to play around with the math on that one, because I want to use all of it. Because once it's ground down the flour, I can't really give it to the squirrels at that point. What are they going to do with flour, acorn flour? They're not going to do anything with that. So, yeah, that's it for that. So I guess I'll see you after I pulverize this and start soaking it. Okay, so now I'm going to go through all of these kind of bit by bit and make sure that there's no shells, there's no more maggots, I didn't miss anything, you know. So, and I'm putting it in the big brown Tupperware so that I can put the soap water in here. Okay, I'm gonna throw water in here and then soak it and change out the water tomorrow and put it through the processor. Okay, so this morning I drained out the water, took the nuts, and then put them in my processor. And did all that. I had to do it in three separate groupings. Put it back in this container, and then did a rinse, and then did a soak. Went and did some things today, and then came back and gave it another soak. So this is the second rinse. And then I'm going to change out the water tonight, and then change out the water in the morning, and then do that again tomorrow evening. And then Sunday I'm going to taste it and see if it's bitter or not, and if we need to proceed from there. So I am grinding the acorns again to get them fine enough so that they can go onto a sheet pan and get dehydrated. I didn't taste test, and I was putting them on the pan, and then I decided I should probably taste test it. They're almost ready, and it's been a week. So my takeaway with this process so far for the week has been soak them for a day, not overnight, and put them through the processor to get the nuts half of the size that they were instead of just a little bit, like just taking off edges and getting various pieces. Try to get them like half the size, and then start soaking them, because I think that would speed up the process of getting the bitterness out. So, because what I did Tuesday was I taste tested, and they're definitely still bitter. And then I ground them down a little bit in the processor, and I really think that sped that up. So, seeing as where we're at right now, I'll show you what this looks like in a minute. I'm definitely gonna next time grind it down some more. With this process, what I've got right now, since I'm going to bake these tomorrow, I'm grinding it to the point where I want it for the sheet pan, like I said, and I'm going to soak it, but I'm going to drain it through a sieve this time, because there's really nothing else for it. I mean, most of the stuff is filtered out. So rinse that through a sieve tomorrow, and then put it on the sheet pan and dehydrate it, and then grind it down again, probably in my Vitamix when it's dry, to make it into a proper flour. This is the process. Goodness gracious. So let me show you what it looks like. So this is what I ground it down to on Tuesday. You can see that. And then this is what I'm grinding it down to for today. Probably see it better here. Oh my gosh, there we go. So it's kind of like a thick meal, if you will. So that's what I'm doing today. And we'll go through the baking process tomorrow, I guess. Today is the day we're going to make acorn flour, not acorn bread. I'm going to make acorn flour, and then I'm going to keep the flour in the fridge until Monday, and then bake the bread. Unless I have time today, but I don't think I will. But we're going to put this through the sieve, drain out all the water that we can, and then we're going to put it into the sheet pan, into the oven, and then set it on its lowest setting for at least a few hours, and just keep checking it, make sure that it's dry before we store it. And yeah, so let's get this party started. No! Oh, jeez. These acorns are heavy, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of weight into this sieve because I don't want to mess up my sieve. So I'll be doing this in a lot of increments. But pouring it through the sieve, give it a rinse, and then I'm going to slap it onto a parchment-lined sheet pan. In case you're wondering, that's the extra large full sheet size sheet pan that I'm using. And I don't even know, I don't know how thin I can be able to get it with that, but that's the biggest pan that I have. So, because I used to be a baker at home too. So, anyway, I'm going to finish this up and then get it in the oven. I also saved some of the milk just in case I end up liking it. I was like, well, I'll wait and see if I like acorns before I save the milk, but I may not get another chance to save this many acorns. I don't know. So I saved the milk. Maybe I'll make some pancakes with it. 170 with the oven door cracked open. That way you can get the steam out because there's a lot of liquid in there. And all you're going to do is just keep that liquid in there, and it's going to take longer for it to dehydrate. So that helps get the steam out. Here's what it looks like after, oh boy, 3 hours? 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. Well, let 4 hours, and then I just kind of let it sit in the oven for a half an hour with the heat off and the door still propped open. It's really dark. I don't know if I overbaked it or not. I do know that from seeing pictures online of Acorn Bread that it is pretty dark, so I'm going to assume that this is what it's supposed to look like. So I'm just going to let it cool off. It still feels a little bit damp to the touch, but that could just be because there's heat there. So I'm just going to mix it around a little bit and let that rest of the steam come out. And then go from there. Either my Vitamix is heating up and making this wet, or there's still some wetness inside of these nuts and I'm not entirely sure. So I'm grinding it up in small batches, putting in that container and sticking it over here. So I spread this all out so that I can get it dried, because this really, there is steam coming off of this. It's kind of crazy. But I know it can't be from this, so it has to be from the machine because this is cold. It's a little bit damp, but it's cold. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I've decided that since acorn flour is on the dense side, that I'm going to just do many different breads instead of trying to do one type of bread. So I'm going to make muffins, and I'm treating them kind of like bran muffins. So I'm going to put a little bit of cinnamon in there, maybe some clove, I don't know, but definitely some cinnamon. And then I'm also going to make waffles. Gotta make waffles. So that's what all this stuff is. And where's my muffin tin? Here it is. I had to wash it. So making the big gigantic muffins. So I have enough flour here. This is like maybe 6 or 7 cups of flour. So I have way more than enough. So after the muffins and the waffles, if I have anything left, I'll probably make pancakes. Hopefully this is good. We'll see.